Yep. We're just waiting for YouTube to also go live. Okay, nice. We're live on YouTube as well. And we were supposed to start at 7, so it's a little late, but I think people are going to join now. So, all right. So, let's start. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today. On this broadcast, we're going to be having a look at our AI assistant, and it's basically going to be a battle between our AI assistant and some issues in smart contracts. And we'll demonstrate how the AI tool and assistant identifies vulnerabilities in smart contracts and helps auditors and makes their lives easier. So I'm Adi Naderi, and I'm the head of ecosystem at AuditOne. And joining me is Raja. Raja, would you please go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mari, for the opportunity. So, hello everyone. I'm Raja, CTO at AuditOne. So, mainly responsible for building the technical architecture of the platform of AuditOne. And if you look at the today's session, like it's going to be the discussion of about Audit Assistant that we have built over past 1 year, which could identify the issues in smart contracts.
All right, thank you very much. So before we get into the tool itself, Raja, do you mind just explaining what is the tool about, who uses it, and what does it do, basically, for someone that has no idea about it?
Sure, Madhi. So actually, Audit One is a auditor aggregator platform where we try to onboard auditors from Web3 area who does smart contract audits. So these auditors generally use a lot of tools as well as they do manual code reviews in order to understand the vulnerabilities in smart contracts and recommend the fixes to the project. Because as blockchain is immutable once deployed, the issues need to be resolved before they are deployed. So auditors are someone who work a lot in order to find out this issue and assist projects in order to avoid the exploits or the hacks that happen on chain. So at Audit One, what we have done is like in order to assist auditors, we wanted to have a tool that could really assist them in order to identify at least the known issues so that they need not manually go through the code every time and at least get support in terms of finding known issues so that they could really focus on critical issues that could really disturb the business logic and so on. So for that, there are a lot of tools at Audit One that include like static analyzers, which are third-party integrations, and we have like code visualizers where auditors can use them to generally understand the logical flow in the contracts. And then the third interesting tool that we're going to discuss about today is Audit Assistant. So we have utilized the power of AI in order to build a tool that could assist auditors in order to find the known issues, and later they can focus more on manual issues.
All right, sounds interesting. So I think it's time. Let's dive into the demo. And Raja, do you mind just showing us this tool?
Sure, I would be really happy to do that. So actually, new auditors, this would be interesting for you. And I think like there are auditors from our already existing platform too. So in order to navigate, firstly, any auditor needs to register at app.audit1.io. A quick registration would take you through the steps that you need to access the tool. So here you have like a lot of options available on the Audit One platform, where you can monitor your dashboard and you can participate in audits. And tools is the main part that we're going to discuss today. So in this, Audit Assistant is something that is really interesting, as we told, like it utilizes the power of AI to find the known issues. So let us try to understand how it tries to identify the issues. So here you have like try now. So here we have like two options which auditors can try from. So they can import whole of the repository from the GitHub, as well as if they have a contract file, they can just upload it as a part of the interface and then get the audit done. So let's see for one sample of uploading contracts, we can just do it in one step. So for now, I have just taken a sample of vulnerability contract. So one can upload the file here and they can submit it. So we have a IDE inspired screen available. One can just visually see the contract details here. So this is the vulnerability contract of the vault that we are considering in order to check how effective our tool is. So once the code is visible here, currently we have only read-only mode for this, but in future the plan is to make it like write-only and also build on top of it like POC integration so that they can just build POCs around it. They need not go to any other tool or integrate lot of libraries like Foundry setups and etc. to run POCs and build POCs. So we'd like to make it a bit more AI powered to make executable POCs in the interface itself without the pressure on the local systems or servers. And no
Okay.
need to take tension with respect to any integrations that needs to be done in the libraries. So in order to run the audit, one can just click on this AI symbol and then proceed to just run the tool over it. So it is pretty much like any other tool auditors use it, but it also deals with the code in real time as soon as you upload it. So um, here you can see like the issues are something visible here. So once this tool is run over, you can see like the issues are given out as soon as the code has run. So if you look at the issues present here, so our tool is currently good at identifying the reentrancies, integer overflows, underflows, and unchecked external calls. So in this case, the naming might be different for the titles, but let's say the actual finds or the actual findings that are available right now will talk about those issues that are already present in the code. So you can see like here you get a title and you also get input code where exactly the issue is present. So you can see like this is the input code where the issue is present and
Hmm.
severity is medium, and the impact is something which talks about the external calls of the contract doesn't check the success. So this is the unchecked external call which you call it. So the terminology in general is different, but let's say the way it is interpreting is also the same, but the presentation is in a different mode. And this is the vulnerable code, and it also gives recommendations on how to fix it. And let's say if there are unchecked calls, it ultimately would lead to the reentrances event because the balance doesn't get updated on time and the contract would be called multiple times. So this is how the tool would give the output at various points where it is really missing the issue. I mean, they're really missing the checks for the security issues. So actually, this tool has been trained on the very much latest data in terms of contracts or the solidity versions above 8 and so on. So I mean, the integer overflows and underflows are already addressed in this sort of issues. So this is something which went unrecognized here because here clearly we stated like this is possible only below 0.8.0. So, and once these issues are detected, auditors have always chance to add their own manual issues. So let's say whenever they are doing auditing, this is a tool that tries to find only the issues that it is trained on. But let's say if auditors have their own findings and if they want to report it or else let's say make a composed report in one interface itself, we also have that facility. um, so one can just go to add findings, and here the auditors can add a finding to generate a proper report. So if they found an additional issue which this tool has not detected, or let's say if they have any issue that is so critical that tool didn't detect, and then they want to make it as a part of report, so they can just enter the details here and it would create report by itself. So maybe I can also show you the quick report of how it
For
generates.
sure.
Yeah. So this is the dashboard of showing how many issues it has found, and every issue can be clearly seen here. And let's say if the titles and etc are not so in live with the general findings, what auditors can do is like they can always edit this piece of finding, so they can present it in the way they want to. So it is editable, the findings which the tool finds, and they can update it so that the report also gets updated. And once this report is ready, they can save the report and directly use it to submit for the audit contests or findings, audit contests or audits which they are performing if they feel like those are correct, and then would fetch the bounties. And one more interesting interface is like they can also track the history of the contracts that I have run through this tool. So in the history, one can see like what are the contracts that are run through this tool, and issues can always be referred back and edited. So whenever you have like large projects, whenever auditors have like large projects and they need to analyze some, let's say 20, 30 contracts, they need not do it in just one day, but they can do it and come back and do it one after the other, and then accommodate the issues in the one interface before they submit it to the contest.
So they can basically pick up where they left their work and continue adding the issues, finding them, creating the report.
Exactly.
All right,
So
all right.
yeah, here is the preview report of the findings that the tool has found just now.
Okay. So basically, also the reporting is automated by the tool on top of it finding the issues, pretty
Exactly.
much.
So we just want to make sure that auditors like need not use some other tools where they need a lot of effort to setting it up or compiling it for different let's say contracts and different projects. Rather have like a single unified interface where they can do from step one to like step five. Let's say if there are 5 steps in sort of auditing till reporting, they can handle it via this interface. So that's a plan.
All right, all right, all right. Interesting. So the issue that you found in the previous contract that you were demonstrating, do you mind going back to that and let's have a look at it?
Sure. So here is a history of the issues that has been found.
Okay. And so this was found by the AI tool, correct?
Exactly.
And how would one proceed to find such issues if the AI tool was not present? And how much time would one have to sort of spend on finding such issue?
That's an interesting question. So generally, it depends on how auditors approach this sort of auditing. So generally, like after speaking to a few auditors, we understood like there are a few auditors who initially use certain tools to run over to find the known issues like static analysis, etc. And second step, they try to set up a Foundry environment where they can literally do testing, where they try to build POCs and etc. to test okay how an exploit could happen in this contract. And then once the POCs get failed, or let's say the test cases fail, then they report the issue in a proper reporting structure. So if you see at this case, at least like half an hour could be spent on like 1 to 2 issues and etc. So but here tool could be used to run it in just 5 minutes of time, and it also depends on the complexity of code too, but let's say it would take like lesser time than what auditors need to do as a part of every auditing. So that's what the area which we want to address, like assist them to increase their efficiency in finding like what they are good at already, and need not spend time on the regular tedious work which they need to do.
Got it, got it. So this one helps them find the common issues. They don't have to spend time on it. Instead of spending 30 minutes on common ones, they can just do all of them in 5 minutes and go and focus on the more critical ones, right?
Exactly.
All right, all right. And I also saw that the AI assistant shows the severity of these issues. So, can the AI assistant prioritize vulnerabilities based on their severity or exploitability?
Actually, the way the system is trained itself is like the data set which we have utilized to train the model that you're currently seeing is that almost equally spread data for low QA and medium issues, but we have like a less number of high issues, I can say. So it really tries to find an exploit first and then assign severity based on how the previous assignments are done. So it really like doesn't prioritize the severity level, but it always prioritizes like if this really an exploit or not. So what matters to it is like, okay, I should suggest auditor like what could be the potential exploits first, because that's what is important, because sometimes a medium issue could become an higher issue in other use case. So it totally also depends on use case. So instead of focusing on severity, the tool really focuses on is this something that is really exploitable or not.
Okay, okay, all right. And so, how trustable are these findings? Because, of course, sometimes, AI has hallucinations, false positives, and gives the wrong output. And
Mhm.
that's not that uncommon with AI tools. So, how trustable are the findings?
That's a good question. So any AI will definitely have its let's say the error rates, or let's say there in terms of reasoning models we have hallucinations. In terms of interpretations, sometimes the data gets overtrained or the model gets overtrained, and sometimes the repetitive issues might come out and etc. But let's say it's a continuous improvement process is something what I can say. Like right away we can't expect like 100% AI finding the issues and we can rely on it completely, but let's say we can rely on it to an extent of how accurate it is giving the results, but it is just assisting, it's not completely replacing is something what I can say. And in order to address these issues, we also wanted to involve community to validate the findings which our AI found. So this model has been trained around on around like 20,000 data points, and we try to run over 20, 30 contests already through this AI tool. And then we are in the phase of evaluating it manually with the help of auditors, like how effective this tool is and how accurately this AI is working. And based on the feedback, it will be a continuous improvement process. And for this, we have an amazing setup in our tool section itself, which auditors are welcome to contribute to validate the findings, and they have like good amount of incentive paid for it in order to validate these issues. So here we have like a validation thread where an auditor can go to validate findings, and then they can click on start validating. And here we have accommodated 100 plus issues right now, and this count would go up as we iterate over the models based on the feedback which we received in the previous phases. So one can see the issues which AI auditor has reported, and then the code in which this particular issue has been found. And here what auditors can do is like they can always let's say here I have already validated one issue, so auditors can always check if this issue given by the AI auditor, AI assistant, is valid or not. And then they can just validate with a valid or invalid with a proper reason. And the people who contribute to it, and let's say one of our triager checks it whether it is valid or not in the final stage. And then let's say if it is correctly reported by the auditors, then there is an incentive given to them. And in this way, we are trying to involve the community of auditors to improve the tool. And then it is ultimately going to help the auditors at the end of the day to find the known vulnerabilities at much more reliable way right now than right now.
Okay, okay. So basically, the more they use it and the more they validate the issues that they find, the better the tool gets and makes their lives easier. It's like a positive feedback loop, right?
Exactly.
All right. Of course, I think the auditors might have this question of what is the incentive of validating the issues? Is that something that is decided upon right now, or is it going to be decided upon in the future?
So let's say if auditors are interested in joining this program of validating issues, like reach out to us, Raja, or else let's say we have David, our COO. So he'll just we'll have soon a onboarding section where we try to onboard the auditors who want to participate in this validate findings, and then there we show up how the incentive model works. So this is not quite transparent right now, but let's say who want to participate or open to apply, and then we are ready to go ahead with that.
All right. Sounds good. So let me have a look at the chat and see if any of our viewers have any questions so far. 1 second. Let's see. All right. So one question is, which tool would be more useful, the AI assistant or static analyzer, when compared in terms of effectiveness and capabilities?
That's a good question. So in terms of effectiveness and capabilities, if you speak like right now, static analyzers are the one which generally work on, let's say the syntactic rules or the let's say the rule-based approach is something which is used in static analyzers, and they are good at finding like low and QA issues, but there are lot of false positives too. And if you talk about audit assistant, it tries to get a bit more in depth in terms of understanding semantics of the code rather than just the syntactics of the code. So in terms of capabilities, audit assistant could really do better, but at current stage it really needs like continuous improvement is what I can say. So once it is improved, that the audit assistant could be more powerful than the static analyzers in terms of reasoning as well as understanding at a semantic level the code.
Okay. So basically, the static analyzer finds more of the syntax issues, but the AI assistant understands the code better and looks into the reasoning of it. But of course, it could use, I mean, it is continuously improving. So understood. And another person is asking, what happens if I find a false positive? I think they're mentioning if they're using the tool and they find a false positive, what happens?
Yeah. So actually, if somebody is using the tool and they find a false positive, we have a section where they can give feedback to us. Maybe I can take you through the history. In the history, like let me select one of the file and then we'll quickly run and I can show you like how one can give feedback if they find a false positive.
Okay.
So let's say this is the history of the code that we have already run. And then let's say if they find a false positive here, let's say this issue reported by the audit assistant is a false positive, they always have a provision of giving us feedback. So if it is valid or not, so this literally improves the model by retraining again. So they can do it for the new codes as well. And then for the codes that we have already run for the contest, they can always check with the validation findings and then improve contribute to the improvement of the tool.
Okay. Basically, once they notice a false positive, they have to go to the validating section, click on it, and mark it as invalid and explain why it's a false positive.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna wait another 2 to 3 minutes to see if there are any questions coming up from you guys. So feel free to ask any questions. We're going to be here for another minute or two before we wrap it up. Okay. So I think we could wrap it up here. It's a good end. What do you think, Raja?
Yeah, that works fine.
All right. So thank you everyone for joining us today on this broadcast on our smart contract AI assistant tool. And we're excited to offer you guys the beta version of our tool. Of course, you can register to our platform as an auditor through the link below. And we look forward to your comments and your validations on the tool because it's really going to help improve the tool in general and make everything easier for you in the future. And thank you, Roger, very much for taking the time to explain this tool to us.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you guys in the next broadcasts. And thank you very much for joining us today.